这是一个比较有趣的一个案例啊。他讲说什么？他说取得信任这件事情，不只是麦当劳需要取得客户的信任，也不是只有店小二要取得武松的信任，还有一种人很需要取得别人的信任，什么？抢匪啊？什么意思呢？他说当抢匪冲进银行、冲进珠宝店要抢的时候，其实这抢匪没打算伤害人，他只要钱嘛，他杀伤人命干嘛呢？可是麻烦之处就在于，银行的其他人、珠宝店的其他人不相信你不会伤害我，所以我要趁你伤害我之前，我要先怎么样反击，以免束手就擒的时候，到时候任人宰割。可是你只要一反击，那抢匪就非得要怎么样先发制人，所以搞得双方进入囚徒困境，对不对？互相不信任啊。所以抢匪的意思是别动，我们不伤害任何人，大家只要弄好就没事。可是没有人愿意相信他，所以即便你当抢匪，也是一个非常需要取得别人信任的行业。来，我们来看一下真正的抢匪他们怎么做。好，这位老兄是一个真的抢匪啊。那这段影片很有意思，他是一个前珠宝大盗 Larry。然后我们来看一下他这段影片当中他怎么谈的。
This is Larry Lawton, and he's an ex-jewel thief.
Not thief, I was a robber. Thief sounds like you went in that person's house and robbed it. I just went with a gun right to their face.
Larry's a former career criminal, once considered the biggest jewel thief in the United States.
In 7 years, I robbed between $15 and $18 million and then served 12 years in federal prison. And today I'm going to break down what's right and wrong in some of Hollywood's great movie heists. We're about to watch a lot of crimes in movies, but let me be very clear. I am in no way endorsing or encouraging crime in any way. I'm an ex-criminal, and now I work with police agencies to prevent crime. So I want that to be known right off the bat. Let's look at some clips. The bank robbery in Heat.
Keith! Oh, stay down. We want to hurt no one. We're here for the bank's money, not your money. Your money is insured by the federal government. You're not going to lose a dime.
When Robert De Niro takes control and tries to calm everybody down by telling them that their money's insured, he's right. It's just like with the robberies that I committed. The people's jewelry was insured, so they got their money. It wasn't the people who you're robbing that were getting robbed. The real people are the insurance companies who are losing the money. And again, I'm not going to say it was right. It's wrong. But it's not their stuff they're losing. Most of the people I robbed did not hate me because they actually sold their whole store in one shot for insurance. At one time, the feds couldn't get the jewelry store people to say anything bad against me. They got a couple, but the guy who shot me. Okay, now the things that stuck out right away on this clip is, how much do you think that money weighs? Cash is king. You'd like to rob cash, but cash is heavy. They're flinging around that cash like it's feathers. That cash is heavy. It's a gram per bill. Each one of those bags is 70 pounds, and they're running through the streets like it's a 10-pound bag. You know, it's totally unrealistic. That's part of that struck out at me right away. Cash is heavy. That's why people can rob a lot more in diamonds. You can get a diamond worth $100,000 that is the size of a penny. You know why cash is king? Because you don't have to deal with a fence. A fence is a middleman. A fence is the guy you take whatever stolen object you have, you get cash from that person for that stolen item, and he then gets rid of it. So you'd have a fence for diamonds, you'd have a fence for VCRs, you can have a fence for clothes. Whatever you steal, you need a fence. Not with cash. Cash is king. Thomas Crown Affair. What you're seeing here is a mega millionaire stealing $1 million picture. In a Thomas Crown Affair, what does he do? He robs art. Why does he rob art? Because he knows art, so he knew the value of what he was stealing.
This painting is considered to be the first Impressionist work in history. It's worth $100 million.
In my own career, I knew about diamonds. Why? Because I went to the GIA Institute under the table to know what I was doing. The GIA Institute is the Gemological Institute of America. They actually show you how to grade diamonds, rate diamonds, actually give them what they call a birth certificate. So understanding what you're robbing is more important than sometimes the robbery itself. Why would I rob something and not know the value of it?
Morning, Mr. Crown.
Bobby?
Back for your haystacks, huh?
In the Thomas Crown affair, he gets very tight with everybody, and that's very common because when I did my robberies, I ended up getting tight with the owner or the salesperson in that jewelry store. They didn't know who I was, but they got tight with me. They started talking about the place, and I would end up even sometimes asking to use the bathroom in the back, and they'd say, sure. Now I'd walk in the back and know everything about the store, where the cameras were. What I don't like about what I'm seeing in this clip is he's robbing for fun. He's getting a thrill. I've known people who are very wealthy who want something, but they don't do it themselves. They hire other people to do it.
Are you trying to imply that I had something to do with that painting?
Trying.
No way. Well, would you go, if you were worth $10 million, would you go rob something? If you got $10 million in your house, what are you going to rob another million for and go to prison? That just doesn't make sense. It's for the thrill. Thrill? Off more.
Tommy, that's $100,000 on a goddamn golf swing.
Beautiful Saturday morning, John.
I had an opportunity to rob millions of dollars in Rembrandts and Picassos, and I couldn't get 2 cents on the dollar. That means if I robbed $1 million picture, I couldn't get $20,000. People don't understand, when you rob things, rob something you can get rid of. If I robbed right now a truckload of Apple Watches, I can get rid of them tomorrow. If I robbed a truckload of Picassos, how am I gonna get rid of them? Can't. I'll take the Apple Watches over to Picassos any day. It's not worth it. You have to be able to sell it. The only way you can do something like that is find someone who wants something specific. You set a price for it and then steal it. Other than that, stay away. You're better off robbing hubcaps. That's the truth. The Italian Job. Stealing a safe is not unrealistic. In fact, I knew many people who used to take chains and pull ATM machines right out of banks. Take them with a big heavy truck, or even take a bulldozer, rob the bulldozer, and literally take a safe right out, throw it in the back of a 4x4, and they're off and gone. So here's what I love about this scene. Great timing, great misdirection. Misdirection is when you send police or people or whoever it is to another area so you have time to do what you're gonna do in your area. In fact, I use misdirection in some of my robberies. I would actually light Molotov cocktails at the other end of a mall or a town, and cops and everybody's going towards that. And that's misdirection, so I know I have more time in the robbery itself. So that's done very well in this movie with the misdirection when the safe goes through the floor. But the guards are either idiots or they're in on it, because a 3,000-pound safe going through 2 floors is not going to end up in a 21-foot boat flying through a canal. You know, in this clip also, it's timing. So timing is everything, and knowing when and where people are going to be and come to the place is important.
All right, Charlie, someone just called it in. The police boat's heading your way.
7 minutes and counting. Let's go.
So how do you do that? It's an easy way to do that. You can light their alarm off. You can start a little fire or something right next to it. Throw a brick through a window with an alarm and see if how long it takes the police to come there. That's called a false alarm. But you're still gonna get response time. I used to know how many police cars the place had and how many cops were on. You can call and know the size of the police department and just do the numbers. So now if they have 21 patrol divisions, you probably have 3 shifts. So at the most, you're gonna have 7 cop cars in any given area. So how do you know a cop's not patrolling in that area right then and there, and you do it? The cop shows up within 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because he's right there. You better know where the cops are. There's where you go to misdirection. You know, in this movie, right in the beginning, right after the Italian Job, they get away and they're out somewhere celebrating, and one character kills the rest of the people.
No. Steve, what the hell are you doing?
Made a few plans of my own.
And in reality, that is more common or would happen with that kind of money.
Steve, how many times do I have to tell you?
Trust everyone. Just don't trust the devil inside them.
Great movie, but why don't you just go with these guys in there, knock on the door, get in there somehow. They were in the floor below. They were painting some dynamite on the walls. You can't get into that top floor? Come on, that's a little unrealistic. Listen, I robbed people. I used to rob drug dealers. I used to tie them all up. Would walk out with $1 million in cash and the dope. So, I mean, I was a bad guy all around, but I don't do that anymore. Let's take a look at the movie Snatch. So what we're seeing here is 4 men walking in dressed as Hasidic Jews to rob a wholesaler. I knew a guy who did this. He dressed up as a Hasidic Jew here in Brooklyn and then robbed the people who take their diamonds to temple to bless him.
Ruth, let them in, please.
Moti.
These 4 guys go in through a buzz door. The buzzer doors were good for me, the professional criminal, not for the smash and grab. When I went into a buzz door, I was never surprised after that because I would end up buzzing the person in and taking them down. You don't want someone just walking in and then walking out. In those buzzers, you also have to buzz out. Once you're in there, you're mine. You can't even run out of the store. It buzzes, it locks.
Where is the stone?
They're looking for a specific diamond. And if you notice, it's not in the safe. A lot of times a specific diamond or very high-end stuff might be in a false floorboard or a safe that's hidden in a drawer. It does not have to be in the actual safe itself. A lot of times that's the jewelry owners trying to not put all their eggs in one basket. So if that safe did get robbed, maybe that higher end stuff doesn't get robbed. Because a lot of people don't know that. But when you case a store, you'll figure that out. This clip was actually very realistic. There's not much wrong except they would have all carried their own gun. I didn't see why they were all 4 guns on one guy. That made no sense. They're walking in as it is. So if one guy goes off and hits a buzzer, they're gonna pat him down anyway. What I don't like about what I'm seeing in this clip is how they used violence. In all of my robberies, I've never used violence. Didn't need to. In robberies, you don't need to use violence, you need intimidation. And it's wrong, I wanna emphasize that. I didn't hurt anybody in a robbery, but I scared people and that's wrong. So I scarred them sometimes for life, which is wrong, but I never had to physically hurt somebody, ever, in a robbery. Ocean's 11. So there's a couple of things this movie does really well. Casing the joint and getting inside information.
First task, reconnaissance. I want to know everything that's going on in all 3 casinos, from the rotation of the dealers to the path of every cash card. I want to know everything about every guard, every watcher, anyone with a security pass.
Casing the joint is when you take the whole entire theft you're gonna do and get every detail. When you know that the sun comes up and there's glare on the window at a specific time, when you know when the mailman comes by, when the most people are gonna be in the place, what time they open, where they park their cars. When I was casing jewelry stores, I would know what time the sun come up so I'd get the maximum glare so nobody can look in. Casing a joint encompasses total control of the robbery. And you can see in this clip, they're doing exactly that. You can see they have inside information. They have a dealer who knows the ins and outs of that casino and is watching at all times. When you get inside information, you might have to do it a couple of ways. In the clip you're looking at, the girl got money.
Thanks, man. I'll have this back in an hour.
But in reality, it would be blackmail. And that's what usually gets people. When you blackmail somebody, it's not just about getting the dirt on them, it's getting dirt that's gonna hurt somebody. And that's what's important, because money will get somebody motivated only so much, but blackmail will keep them quiet forever. In reality, if a reward came out, a person who just did something for X amount of dollars can get more money by telling everybody what really happened. But if the person was blackmailed, you got them forever. And it could be really something as small as gambling, or it could be something sexual. But once you have them over blackmail, it's more powerful than money. In the Ocean's 11 movies, all of them, the Ocean movies, there's just too many people involved.
You'd need at least a dozen guys doing a combination of cons.
When you have 12 people who directly know about what's going on, there's gonna be a snitch somewhere, and they're gonna get the reward also. So even on a mega money, if you have $40, $50 million and you split it up 12 ways, and they come up with a $5 million reward, you can get more money by snitching. And the snitches, somebody's gonna snitch somewhere along the line, or somebody was in bed with their wife and they told them what's going on and the wife doesn't like him anymore. When I was in robbing, nobody knew who my fence was. And that's important, I did that on purpose, so if anything happened, nobody can get to the next person. Even my own crew didn't know what I was doing as far as where the money was coming from or how we were getting rid of the diamonds. And that's important. In this clip here, everybody knows everything, and that wouldn't happen in real life. Never. The less people to know, the better. And that's how robbery should go. You know, have I ever thought about robbing casinos? I think I thought about robbing everything. If you did anything in this movie, you'd cut down the amount of people and you might get into the cages. But if you ever notice any casino where the cages are, they're in the center of the casino, away from any exits. So there's no way you can get into them. Believe me, I looked. Let's take a look at a robbery gone wrong in Hell or High Water.
There's no money in the drawers yet. It's in the safe, and I ain't got the code.
Prove it. What you're looking at in this clip is two brothers who rob a bank in a rural town early in the morning.
All you're guilty of right now is being stupid. Just leave, and that's all it'll be.
Tell me I'm stupid again.
The woman is actually giving him some gruff back, and you would see that. People react to robberies in different ways. Some people cry, some people laugh, some people curse you out, some people stay silent. You have all different reactions. You see these guys use gloves. I used gloves, or you can also use crazy glue and literally cover your fingertips in crazy glue, and then you don't have any gloves, and you won't get prints out either. Also, they didn't cover their eyes. If you ever notice somebody who really robs something, if they put pantyhose over their head, it disfigures their whole entire face, and you could still see, but you couldn't describe a person's eyes. If you left your eyes open, a person will look right at your eyes, and they'll recognize those eyes again. And it's a quick disguise. Wham! Put it right over your head, and you're gone, and nobody can recognize you. You're done. That's one way to do it. I'll bet we'll get people who do that. Yeah, you guys are gonna go home and find a pair of pantyhose from your mother, and hey Mom, I need a pair of pantyhose.
Where do you think you're going? Sit on the floor!
You had one guy who was a little out of control, but that's actually what made the robbery work, because unpredictability. If a person doesn't know what you're gonna do, they're gonna give you whatever you need to get out of there. And that's the smart way to do it anyway. If you're getting robbed, don't get hurt.
There's no money in the drawers yet. It's in the safe, and I ain't got the code.
They should have cased it. They should have known about the safe and who can get into the safe and at what time you can get into the safe. Also, most safes have time locks that can only be open at a certain time. And that's very common.
Damn it! Y'all are new at this, I'm guessing.
Obviously, there's a couple of things banks do, from die packs to GPSs in the money, and they'll give a certain pack of money that has a die pack, and once it leaves the store, it blows, and all that money is done. People in banks are trained to do exactly what they're told and give away the money because it's all insured. Also in banks, if you ever notice, when you go into your next bank, look at the door. There's actually a height marker in every bank right at the door. So when you walk out, you'll see it, and they can tell you how tall you were. Most people who rob banks don't rob one bank. They do a lot more. Obviously, with the bank, it's the FBI, so you will eventually get caught. I always say the best of the best, the FBI. In the FBI, they got all the money in the world and all the time in the world. You will get caught. The Convenience Store Robbery in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. A great movie. You guys watch that movie? Yeah, it's a great movie. We've been following a lot of clips with professional criminals, people who plan it out, people who know what they're doing, casing a joint, so to speak. In this clip, you see the exact opposite of a professional.
What are you doing? It's safe! Behind the donuts! I've been watching this place. I know what I'm doing.
The manager or that store clerk would never have access to a safe, and the safe wouldn't be there right behind the hostesses on the counter as well. It would be a drop safe. All convenience stores, 7-Elevens, Wawas, they all have what they call a drop safe, which has a opening on the top that can handle an envelope and cash, and every $100 usually in a cash register, after they have $100, they drop that. And you can't get into that drop safe. They'll have a lock that's only opened usually by the owner or a manager who comes in later to empty that and check the receipts. That's what they do. He walks in, he sprays paint over the camera like the camera didn't see him already. In today's world, we have cameras that have off-site monitoring and they're straight live feeds to another area. Back in the 80s, when this movie was made, they didn't have that. And they would have had a tape machine in the back office, And in the back office, you can actually go in there as a criminal and take the tape out and they wouldn't have any kind of feed of you. You see the manager grab coffee, throw it in the face of the criminal. Obviously, he's defending himself and he's allowed to do that, of course. And he is encouraged not to do that, though. Most police don't want you to get involved. They want you to give the money away as quick as you can and get rid of him and observe as much as you can because you don't want to get killed. Nobody wants to get hurt. The first action of everybody involved should be safety. And that goes to safety of your customers. If this guy's armed and you did something and he shot you and then Spicoli walked out of the bathroom and then got shot as well, you're talking about a very dangerous situation that could have been. You also saw the getaway driver take off. Believe it or not, with drug addicts, that'd probably be pretty common. And the one who got caught would be telling on the one who didn't get caught. That would be pretty common too, especially with drug dealers, drug addicts.
All right, Hamilton.
The clips you just saw, I don't ever want people to believe that I'm endorsing crime in any way. People don't think. Criminals should be smarter, but most of them aren't. That's why they go to prison. And in my case, the FBI was very good.
好，所以你可以看得出来哈，即便是银行是珠宝大盗啊，珠宝抢匪，他们也知道啊，要怎么样在最短的时间取得信任啊，因为我要抢的不是你，我要抢的是别人，对不对 ？OK， 你看，所以你说那这个是珠宝大盗啊，那我们又不当珠宝大盗，我跟你讲，同样的道理在别的地方也一样。好，这个是什么？这个是当时马老师讲过一段很有意思，我们那时候在做职场课嘛，好，马老师讲过一段。他说什么？他那时候跟米味的同事表达一件事，就是如果你在公司里，我们在工作上有任何的问题，随时都可以跟主管反映啊，也甚至可以直接跟我反映啊，那就是最通俗的那句话叫做我的办公室大门永远为大家敞开啊。所以呢，我们之间可以坦诚，如果想加薪，直接找我谈啊。如果你对工作不满意，你想加薪，你可以直接找我谈。可是你知道，我知道很多主管都会讲类似的话啊，叫做什么？我的办公室的大门永远是敞开的。可是你要知道，马老师讲这种话的时候，就特别有个困扰，因为你知道，这是马老师，他的形象啊，他的形象就特别鸡贼。那你说要怎么样让同事们觉得说，哎，我真的可以跟你谈呢？他那时候讲了一段话是这个意思。那后来他也放在他的那个职场课里头，他说是这样的：各位同事，你们要了解一件事，当你要跟我要加薪的时候。其实不是只是你在争取，你也在帮我一个忙。当你在跟我说你要加薪的时候啊，当然最后我会不会加薪我们可以谈了啊，不是你要了就一定会加。可是呢，你来跟我谈加薪这件事情的本身，可以让我作为主管的、作为老板的，我可以知道很多事。比如说第一件很重要的信息叫什么？叫做你需要激励，这件很重要啊。你来跟我谈加薪，意思就是你需要激励啊。那我知道哦，原来你是需要激励的，你对于现在的激励条件不满意，这个讯息对我很重要。虽然最后加不加薪是另外一回事，可是这个讯息很重要。而且你还告诉我第二个重要的讯息叫做什么？叫做钱可以激励你。他说对于老板而言，这是一个定心丸，你知道吗？如果你需要激励，而你钱就可以激励你，对老板而言，他不会因此给你贴上什么不好的标签，他反而觉得你是一个怎么样？比较好搞定的员工，你不会因此变得比较难搞，你是变得比较好搞。为什么？因为给钱相对容易一点啊。如果今天你找到一个老板说，老板我对工作不满意啊，那你要什么？我要钱。那好啊，那可以谈嘛。那如果你说老板我对工作不满意，你要什么？我要诗与远方。谁那么尼玛给你诗与远方啊？我怎么找给你啊？对不对？所以如果你告诉我你对工作不满意的时候，说的要是你要别的，我不一定给你。你说我要项目的主控权，那不一定能给你，对不对？你说我要自我的成就感，我这怎么给你，对不对？可是你说你要钱，钱好解决，钱对老板而言是相对容易的一件事。所以马老师讲那句话很重要，他说：所以你找我加薪的时候，其实是让我安心啊，就是你是好搞定的人。所以这两个对我们而言都是有利的 ，OK？ 你看，这就是同样的一件事，同样的一件事，你要怎么相信他真的不会介意？不是因为我跟你发誓我是个开明的老板，而是要告诉你，我跟你解释清楚，我们两个在这点上利益是一致的。好，所以不要再说什么我都是为你好啊！很多人觉得要表达诚恳的态度，意思就是我都是为你好，我没有私心。你看我这个人这么真诚，我从来没有为自己争取任何的好处，太不诚实了，你知道吗？ 这个我都是为你好，这不叫做共同利益。共同利益的方式是什么？共同利益是这件事情对我们俩都好，所以我没有理由骗你。好，你想想看，如果你跟一个人合作，合作方说我这边我们有3个可能的解决方案，我建议你选第一个，因为这对你比较好啊，这都是为你好，我建议你选第一个方案。我第一个方案对我未必好，可是对你最好，我建议你选，你信他吗？你不信他吗？那相反的，他说我会比较推荐你选第一个，因为什么？因为你选第一个，我也可以得到最大的利益。这时候怎么样？你会比较诚实一点，对不对？共同利益比较重要。好，来我们来看第2个，还有一招叫做什么？我们称之为叫高光时刻。要怎么样展现一个人诚实？你知道诚实的感觉有一个困扰叫做什么？叫做日久见人心。你有没有听过这句话啊？路遥知马力，日久见人心。所以一个人诚不诚实啊，日子久了以后就会看到金子啊，这个久了总会发光。可是麻烦就在于我们哪有那么多的时间去培养你的诚实的，就给人建立一个诚实的印象啊，太难了。尤其是我跟各位报告，我们对事物的印象啊，往往都是什么？来自于几个高光时刻。什么意思？什么叫做高光时刻？你想，你会觉得一个人诚实，并不是因为他一直都没说谎，而是因为他有几个特别诚实的时刻，你印象特别好啊，印象特别深。我换个例子嘛，比如说你觉得一个人很幽默，一定不是他每一刻都在说笑话，一定是他说笑话的那几个时刻让你印象特别深刻。好比说，你看这迪士尼就特别擅长这件事情。我们都知道去迪士尼玩啊，他们晚上有一个烟火秀啊，每一天晚上迪士尼开园的晚上都一定会有一个烟火秀。他为什么要有这个烟火表演？为什么？因为迪士尼知道他们的整个游玩的体验不是永远都在尖峰的。比如说你早上去迪士尼啊，开园的时候去买票排队排半天，这个体验是糟糕的。然后哎呀，去玩了游乐设施之后好好玩哦，哎，这是高点。然后再来呢，中午去吃饭，哎呀，迪士尼的餐饮不怎么样，又贵，往下掉。然后哎呀，看到米老鼠了，又高点，对不对？所以换言之，你去迪士尼玩的时候，你的体验本来就是怎么样，有高有低，有高有低的。可是重点不在于那些低的部分，重点在于你日后回忆起迪士尼的时候，你回忆的是哪一个点？他要确保你在日后回忆的时候，回忆的是那个高点，它会成为你对迪士尼的整体印象。他晚上有烟火秀，我问你，当你晚上看了这个烟火秀啊，如梦似幻，所有人拍照，你的相簿里头存的照片一定不可能是你迪士尼排队很无聊的那个照片吧？你相簿里存的照片也一定不可能是他那个不好吃的餐饮的照片吧？你存的是这个，这就叫什么？这叫高光时刻。2年之后翻到迪士尼的照片，哦，对对对，那个时候迪士尼太好玩了，你看那晚上的烟火表演太精彩了，那个成为你印象当中，对不对？对这个事物的印象啊，迪士尼的印象就是烟火啊。那你说，那万一有人迪士尼去玩的时候没有留到晚上看烟火怎么办？放心，他们每一个时候他还要安排第2个高光时刻。去过迪士尼的人就知道，一个叫做晚上的烟火，一个叫下午的什么？花车大游行，对不对？好多的什么迪士尼的什么公主啊，这个什么什么跟你招手啊，那个是另外一个高光时刻。你去迪士尼玩，很少人早上就离开吧，对不对？基本上你要不然就是玩到下午，花车大游行看完走，高光时刻；要不然就是玩到晚上，烟火看完走，高光时刻。啊，这都会成为你对他的肢体印象。人的印象是由高光时刻决定的。就好比我举例。我的口才一直都很好吗？其实不是，我日常生活中也有嘴笨的时候啊，也有结结巴巴不知道在说什么的时候。可是呢，打比赛的那几刻是我的高光时刻，它会形成你对于志忠老师口才的印象。又好比你知道我自己在公司里，我有一个我认为是误打误撞，可是我还蛮开心的一个印象，叫做什么？他们都觉得志忠老师特别靠谱特别靠谱。我想说，你知道吗？从实质上来说，我觉得我在工作上特别靠谱，我是非常惭愧的，因为我这个人特别拖延，特别拖拉，这个特别不喜欢工作，特别爱抱怨，你懂吗？你要说我这个人特别靠谱，我其实是非常惭愧的。可是当时跟我合作的所有人，全公司的其他同事都有一个印象，就是志忠老师特别靠谱。为什么？ 因为当时我们那时候啊，我们在公司里我们做了其中的几门课，我们跟康永哥做了情商课，跟马老师做了职场课，我们自己那时候在做好好说话啊，好好说话的第2季，然后呢，我们那时候也在出书，好好说话的书，总共4个项目，而那有一段时间阴错阳差，这4个项目呢，全部都在我一个人手上接。所以我那时候特别恐怖。我那时候上班的时候，从早，因为我这个人最讨厌早起，可是我从早到晚，一直到午夜都通通都耗在里面，一个项目一个项目进来，前面开完情商课的会，后面过职场课的稿子，后面给我看这个选题，好好说话的选题，然后再来说你这个书稿你要不要改？哇，太恐怖了！这个恐怖的日子大概持续了1个半月还是2个月啊！我跟你讲，我这辈子再也不想经历过这个一次。可是呢，对所有人而言，他们叫做全公司的事，一旦真的发生问题的时候，职中学长可以一个人全搞定。职中学长实在太靠谱了，那当然我也很开心啦。可是我必须告诉你，这是高光时刻的高光时刻啊！你下次要我再这样发光，我死都不愿意。可是它会形成一个印象，这就是我们对一个人的印象，叫做职中学长平常随随便便，关键时刻特别靠谱。这不就是一样的意思吗？所以来跟各位报告一件事，人们在取得诚实的感觉的时候也一样。我发觉一般人有一个坏毛病，叫做习惯用防守来建立信任。什么叫防守？就像我刚才讲的嘛，日久见人心嘛。天天做一个诚实的人，久了以后你就会觉得我诚实。不对，防守只能避免扣分，它不能加分的。你说我今天不说谎话，明天不说谎话，后天也不说谎话，所以我是个诚实的人咯？没有，你这几天都不说谎话，只是没有丢分而已嘛。那哪能证明你是诚实的人呢？甚至10年来都是个好丈夫，那又怎么样？谁能证明你今天晚上怎么了？对不对？你知道人是特别残酷的，你知道吗？我甚至还听过一句话，叫做这真的太诛心了。这句话叫做：一个人说了99句真话，就代表他是个诚实的人吗？不，那只证明了他的第100句谎话威力倍增。哇塞，你懂吗？这就是正常我们遇到的处境。你光用防守来建立信任是非常困难的，因此我们会建议一种什么？用攻击的方法来建立信任。你不能一直防守啊，今天不说谎，明天不说谎，这种防守是不行的。攻击为什么？因为只有在这种时候你才能建立高光时刻。什么叫做攻击？来，主动承诺并达成，这是一个很简单而且很小的技巧。我举个例子啊，你试想一下，老公跟老婆这个老公在外头喝酒啊，在应酬，老婆问你什么时候回去啊？老公说我晚点回去。到底几点？我10点半回去。你看这就是什么？叫被迫承诺，对不对啊？晚点回去，那我10点多回去。10点多少？好了，10点半回去。好，我问你，你说了10点半回去，在这种被迫的情况下10点半回去，而且事实上通常10点半的时候你有没有到家？没到家啊，10点40也没到家，快11点了啊，可能这时候才叮咚按了门铃。这时候老婆觉得怎么样？觉得妈你不是说10点回来吗？不是说10点半回来吗？都几点了？老公在解释，哎呀，真的没办法。那你跟谁喝酒？真的没谁啊。你去跟老王作证，都没谁啊，都没事。你看，被迫承诺没有达成，然后不断的解释自己，这就是一般人所遇到诚实的困扰，对不对？来，我换一个场景啊，比如说你在喝酒啊，老婆打电话来，哎呀，你在干嘛？我在应酬啊，几点回来啊？10点半回来啊。你讲了个10点半，这叫做主动承诺啊，记不记得被动承诺叫做我晚点回去，到底几点？10点多，到底几点？好了，10点半回去，这叫被迫承诺。好，主动，我10点半回去，然后结果呢？你放下电话之后，结果你居然发现，你居然10点28分就到家了。我跟你讲，这是一个非常让人印象深刻的行为，因为这叫主动承诺并达成，而只要你做1、2次就好，你老婆就有一种，我老公说10点半就10点半，你懂吗？啊，那你说那以后如果没有，那一定是意外，因为我老公是10点半就10点半回来的人。一般人的麻烦就在这里，叫做你不主动承诺，然后呢你被迫解释，然后呢就被拼了命的想要证明自己没什么，没做坏事。你只主动承诺并达成，不要等人家逼你。而且你主动承诺，而且你的承诺的时候其实你承诺几点都无所谓，你可以跟他说我11点回来，然后呢10点58分到家，意思是一样的，你懂吗？因为重点不是时间，重点是你准时，因为准时这件事情会是你的高光时刻。很多人怕被骂 叫做那我9点回来啊，那逼不得已9点半，那再逼不得已10点啊，那逼不得已10点半，就是跟切香肠一样，一点过去。然后结果每一次的拖延啊，我再半小时，我真的没事，再半小时就回来了。你看，用这种方法，每次不断的加码承诺，然后每次都无法达成，这是最糟糕的。那你为什么不一开始就讲11点呢？因为你怕讲11点被骂，对不对？可是你讲从9点拖到11点更容易被骂，而且整个人的那个诚实的感觉就会完全没有，你没有办法建立那个高光时刻。他的所有的印象叫做你会一直拖。相反的，你就说我11点，甚至你夸张一点好不好？你今天几点回来？哦，今天这个应酬比较复杂哦，我可能1点会到家。那结果你12点58分到家，你懂吗？意思是一样的，主动承诺并达成。当然，我讲的是比较轻松的例子啦，什么喝酒的例子。可是项目也好，答应的事情也好，决定的某合作的方案也好，都是一样的。与其被迫拖延、自证没事、自证清白，不如直接用进攻的方式。因为只有在这种情况下，才有所谓的人家印象就说哦，我有印象，始终学长在关键时刻总是能搞定，这就叫高光时刻。好，所以你看我这个人平常拖不拖？我这个人我跟人家约时间超容易拖延啊，我这个人做事情超容易拖延。可是由于他们会有一个印象，就是说最后关头他一定能够搞定所有的事情，所以你看这就运气好。好，来，所以我们来看诚实的感觉啊。首先讲诚实啊，一样诚实的感觉，重点是我对你这个人的信任，这是一个大脑的典型的捷径啊。那我们没有这个条件嘛，当我们不是不是这么有道德的人的时候，来跳出立场，坦诚缺陷，利益一致跟高光时刻都是建立诚实感觉的一个特色啊。细节我们刚才课程当中都有教。好的，那我们这堂课先说到这。好，那同样的，那很多部分啊跟自己的生活有关的部分，那大家可以去重新想，我在生活中我能够让人家有这个标签吗？我在生活中能够利用这个捷径吗？如果可以，其实我们之前所有教过的说服手法，在这个捷径面前都会变得事半功倍。啊，你想同样一个说服的方式，我技巧也教给你了啊，也教给他了，结果他让人有诚实的感觉，你没有，那你用出来一定是不一样的。很多人在问我说啊，这个老师我要怎么说服我老公？是的，我可以教你一套说法，可是这套说法它一定是要配合你在他面前的形象。比如说同样一句话，我讲给你老公听也许有效果，因为我有专业的感觉。你讲给老公听也许有效果，因为你有诚实的感觉。他讲可能没效果，因为他没有这两个任何的一个标签，他就会变得特别的辛苦。OK， 所以来，这是建立捷径的第2条。那下一堂课我们会谈讨喜的感觉，那我们下堂课见。